Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, I would like to speak about the Constitution of the United States. Some people think that they would like to take the country back and establish the Constitution as it used to be. But that really seems very unlikely. And I want to talk about why it is so unlikely and why we should expect hard times worse than they ever have been. Just a second. Why a Christian favoring political revolution is not likely to succeed. The Jewish cabal have a consistent record of destroying Christian foundations for the last century. They are 100 years ahead of us, the Jewish people, and they have planned a demise against our country for decades and decades. There was a group of immigrants that came in after the Civil War. It was in the early 1900s that really damaged our country. We were infiltrated, our politics were infiltrated, and we have suffered greatly from it. But they have power in other countries, in Europe and in Asia and all over the world. And they have been battling Christians for centuries. And the Christians had the upper hand up until Martin Luther's time and during his time. And they really saw from what Luther said, they had a good picture what they were fighting against, the Christian establishment. And they did a good job planning our demise. They divided the people throughout the world. They divided the Christian establishments, divided countries. They ruined Russia. Communism was founded by Jewish founders. A great anti-Christian nation. The Russian Revolution, or the Jewish Russian Revolution would be a better word for it, because the revolution was caused by the Jewish, not the white Russian people. And even though the Tsar's program wasn't that great and had many things that were not likable compared to, say, American democracy in the early 1900s. But it wasn't near as bad as what happened after the Russian Jewish Revolution. When they took over, they destroyed the form of Christian worship in a great way. They slaughtered millions of people. Lenin and Stalin were very hateful, cruel, brutal, murderous men who were associated with the Jewish, or maybe even were Jewish. I don't know. But the Jewish also caused wars among the European peoples. The United States warred against Germany and Italy, European people. They allied with anti-Christian Russia against, so to speak, pro-Christianity Germany and Italy. This is a sin that has brought God's wrath upon us, and we are seeing it today, I believe. When the Jewish infiltrated the United States and its politics and its financial institutions, the Federal Reserve Bank was instituted around 1913. And this is where they really got a hold on us. When they took control of our finances from top down, they had the influence they needed to direct us as they wished. President Wilson was guilty of betraying America. And we were brought into wars. We were brought into World War I. Then World War II came about. Roosevelt worked with the Jewish on that from a top-down power system. And a lot of the American people didn't want those wars. If the American people would have had their say, the wars probably would not have been on our part, except for defending our own country. Okay, now let's look at another reason. That's for the first 70 years of America in the 1900s. Then came about affirmative action, which took the superior position of the white man and the Northern European descendant, his inheritance away from him, and gave it to minorities and non-whites. This was an overthrow, was an act of treason. And what did the people do? You didn't see much protest. The media was so controlled, and the people were just hammered into a second-class position. And we've been living like that ever since. And our politicians, from Wilson, or even from the Civil War, possibly, but especially from Wilson up to Bush, has been a puppet system for the cabal, Jewish cabal. And our leadership has been directed not by the people, but by the Jewish. So there's 100 years. That's why I say that we're 100 years ahead of us. And we're just now realizing this. We're watching the internet, and there are shows, talk show hosts on the internet and on the radio that are giving light to this Jewish cabal. And then recently we had, in the last election, Ron Paul, who was supposed to be for the people who wanted to restore the Constitution. But he promoted a Jewish politician. And so he really doesn't even recognize the real problem in the United States that is destroying Christianity and that is destroying our country. We don't have any politicians that will really stand up and tell it as it is, that we're living in an anti-Christian system, and it's going to get worse.